Good morning, dear friends. Good afternoon and good evening. Today we come together at this time of Equinox to share group silence and reflect on the meaning and the essence of peace. Once again, we come in together in our global garden. The place where we meet as souls. The place where each of us cultivates own tree. The tree of soul. And this is the place where we recognize our togetherness, being a group garden. Time of equinox is a time of equilibrium, time of inner stillness. It's time when sun crosses the equator, moving southward, bringing the change of seasons into north and south. And today we celebrate this dynamic balance of the dance of our Mother Earth around the sun. Traditionally, September equinox is the time when the United Nations General Assembly comes together to continue an ongoing dialogue between the governments of countries on maintaining peace and development. And we come together today too, crossing the boundaries, coming out as representatives of our nations, as representatives of our groups and our communities, to share the seeds of peace. So let's come together in our alignment. Over to you, Claire.
Greetings, friends. This is Claire from Dunedin, New Zealand. It's wonderful to meet together again today. I was talking to a friend in Cape Town this week, and she said to me, we were both saying how overextended everybody is feeling at the moment. And she sent me this line via WhatsApp. And it was very simple, but very profound. And I want to share it with you this morning. She said, do the undoing and undo the doing. And so I invite us all to close our eyes and set aside everything that's been with us today or during the night, depending on our time zones. Make ourselves comfortable in our bodies. Our feet firmly on the floor, in contact with the ground, with Mother Earth. And our backs straight, creating a vertical alignment with the heavens. Today we'll be having an immersion in poetry and music and our gardens. So the alignment today is a poem by by Roger Keyes called Hokusai Says. Hokusai says, look carefully. He says, pay attention, notice. He says, keep looking, stay curious. He says, there is no end to seeing. He says, look forward to getting old. He says, keep changing. You just get more who you really are. He says, get stuck. Accept it. Repeat yourself as long as it's interesting. He says, keep doing what you love. He says, keep praying. He says, every one of us is a child. Every one of us is ancient. Every one of us has a body. He says, every one of us is frightened. He says, every one of us has to find a way to live without fear. And with fear. He says, everything is alive. Shells, buildings, people, fish, mountains, trees, wood is alive. Water is alive. Everything has its own life. Everything lives inside us. He says, live with the world inside you. He says, it doesn't matter if you draw or write books. It doesn't matter if you saw wood or catch fish. It doesn't matter if you sit at home and stare at the ants on your veranda or the shadows of the trees and grasses in your garden. It matters that you care. It matters that you feel. It matters that you notice. It matters that life lives through you. Contentment is life living through you. Joy is life living through you. Satisfaction and strength are life living through you. Peace is life living through you. He says, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Love, feel, let life take you by the hand. Let life live through you. I'm going to share a piece of music now called Shalom Alachem in 3 languages. The words are on the screen. And I invite you to just also keep your eyes closed and listen to what flows through you. It's about 4 minutes.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon.
Sleeping in the Forest by Mary Oliver. I felt the earth remembered me. She took me back so tenderly, arranging her dark skirts, her pockets full of lichens and seeds. I slept as never before, a stone on a riverboard bed. Nothing between me and the wildfire of stars but my thoughts, and they floated light as moths among the branches of perfect trees. All night I heard the small kingdoms breathing around me, the insects and the birds who did their work in the darkness. All night I rose and fell as if in water, grappling with the luminous doom. By morning I had vanished at least a dozen times into something better.
Earlier this year, we came together to create our global garden, dedicating a plant, a tree, or a flower to be part of this garden. Today, we bringing our plants to the side of others again. And as we link with our inner soul tree, we share on the meaning and the essence of peace. What is peace is. We invited all of us in the circle to share the images of our plants, and we collected some number of those images, and I invite now Daniela to share. Please share your screen with the beautiful images of the plants, and we invite us to, as we see our plant, to step in and to say about your plants. And if you have anything to say on the topic of peace, please share that. If not, silence is the best manifestation of peace.
So this is Rebecca's plant, Rebecca Hood.
I believe Rebecca said in advance that she wouldn't be able to join us, but we know that this plant is joyful about the coming spring, as it is in Australia, in the southern hemisphere, in the Sunshine Coast of Australia. Daniela, there were some words that Rebecca shared, I believe.
Yes, do you want me to read them?
Yes, please.
Okay. So she says, reflecting on the meaning and essence of peace, I have pondered often on difficult words about peace from decay. Quoting, happiness and peace will come when there are right human relations. Peace and war are not the real opposites. Peace and change, peace and movement are the real ones. Therefore, I deal not with peace, but am concerned with love, which oft disturbs the equilibrium of matter and material circumstances. So Rebecca goes on commenting this text, saying, it seems we must seek our inner peace in the midst of change and movement to find this place of self-knowledge and centeredness, even when we are uncomfortable, so that we can learn to know how to act rightly toward each other. Cultivating our will to love in face of challenges and difficulties must be our task then. If we are to vouchsafe future times of peace, this requires us to remember ourselves, remember our souls, remember our purpose, to develop right relationship, cultivating the garden of the personality so that it can receive the seeds of the soul and enable it to flower into expression. Rosemary, my Wisak plant, is a plant of remembrance. It is said to help clear the head, and water steeped with rosemary can be used to wash the eyes and clarify the vision. With its sharp, refreshing, awakening fragrance and its warming qualities related to its ruler, the sun, I hope the rosemary plant will contribute to remembrance of what we are doing here in this garden, planet Earth.
And I believe the image on the left, it's when this plant was planted 5 months ago, and on the right is how it looks now.
Yes, that's what he said, yes.
It looks like a very happy plant.
Yes. This one is from Maria Calegari and Bart Cook. I'm not sure if they're present.
No, they also said that they won't be able to join us, but they shared this image of this morning glory blossom, and they're in New York State in the United States, and very crisp air here in the mornings. It definitely feels like the seasons change.
Maria has also mentioned that this morning glory has a 5-pointed star in the center. And may peace prevail on earth, love and joy, from Maria and Bart.
Yes, there's a beautiful star in there.
Thank you, Maria and Bart.
This one is from Antonella.
I don't think Antonella has joined us.
No.
Did you say anything?
She said something about winter and the addition of the plant. Yes, it's going to sleep, seems so.
Yes, and Antonella is in northern Italy.
Yes. Fall is coming and the winter is coming.
This one is from Josette, I think.
Yes. Hello,
Yes.
I am Josette in France. This plant is a white flower from the forest, and it lives grows in the middle of my garden. In the right is the picture in the spring when the plant was very little and going out of the earth. And in the at left is the flower now. In France, it's autumn, and the flowers are a little gone. But in summer, they were full of bees.
Mm. It's a very welcoming plant. One could see.
Thank you, Josette.
Beautiful.
This one is Claire's. You recognize it?
Wow.
Ah, hi. Yes, this is an Angelica that I planted around the Waisak time, as we all did, and not realizing that actually it flowers I think in the Northern Hemisphere at the 8th of May, which is generally around Archangel Michael's Day. So it's supposed to be a protector during times of plague, which was extraordinary because I didn't know any of that when I planted it. But it's growing vigorously. It was just a tiny little seedling when I planted it, and it must have grown a meter in all directions, up and out. And it's about to burst into flower. The little seed head will soon be a mass of white flowers. And the other wonderful thing is that it's providing something to the soil that is nurturing crops of the most extraordinary mushrooms. The fungi that are growing up underneath it are quite magnificent. Tiny, many of them, but species that I've not seen in my garden before. So it does feel as though it's nurturing the Davic life. And it's a blessing. It's outside my bedroom window. So I look onto it every morning when I draw my blinds. Makes me very happy. And yeah, on the subject of peace, just a very simple offering, which is a mantra that I constantly refer to and sound to myself. And it's just 3 words. Pace equals peace. It's an invitation to me to slow down and breathe and appreciate the pauses. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you.
This one is from Joke Hieland from Belgium, who said she was not going to be able to speak today, but she left us a message. She says, with the Visak, I did saw this wildflower garden. Peace and love are energy. It is good to specify them because energy, not specified, goes anywhere and can be used for other purposes, reinforcing that what is not our aim. I think it is a word to ponder on this. Focusing on specifications, we plant seeds like in our garden. And like an arrow, they can grow and reach the goal. Peace and love, I want to specify as synergy, shared purpose, shared vision, equality.
Thank you, Yoka.
This one is from Riza, or Riza, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing.
I'm not sure if Risa is here. I don't see her name. Did she share any name? I'm sorry, any words about peace?
She says, the Tibetan writes about peace, the esoteric equation. One begins with intentions for goodwill, which creates right human relations, which creates the active and ongoing peace and harmony that humanity seeks. Here is our garden.
Thank you, Risa.
This one, yeah?
It was beautiful. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just.
Yes, this one is from Diane Adams. I believe from United States somewhere, but I'm not sure. And she sends autumn equinox blessings to all kingdoms.
Blessings to all.
Blessings to all.
Diana's from Texas.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yes, they.
Thank you, Diane. This one is from Birgit Rasmussen. And she also says that she cannot take part of our webinar today. And she says, I have never had a plant with that kind of consciousness. At the night of the Virgo full moon, I pulled the curtain for the window. The plant protested. It wanted to have the moon light directly on it. Love and joy and peace to all.
Did she mention what kind of plant is that?
I think it's a hibiscus from what I see, but she didn't say so. I believe that looks like hibiscus leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you, Brigitte.
Oh, wonderful. Plant with ash.
Yes, a plant that regulates the light in the house, of course. This one is from Gillian Douglas.
I believe Gillian is here. Can you please unmute yourself and share with us?
Hello, yes, I've done it now. Somewhere hidden amongst there, in the middle, is the rose I planted.
Excuse me, Gillian, can you speak up? Your voice is very low.
Is that better?
A little bit, yes.
I'll try to speak louder then. Somewhere hidden in the middle is a rose, a climbing rose I planted, and unfortunately it's finished flowering now because it's now autumn. But it did flower, and it should hopefully go from strength to strength. On the question of peace, I think peace on earth will arrive when we can all cultivate peace inside each one of us. Thank you.
Thank you. And I apologize. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name right. Gillian or Gillian? I'm really sorry.
Gillian.
Gillian.
Yeah, or Jill for short. I don't mind which.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
You. Really appreciate it.
Gillian, this is Claire.
Yeah.
You
My mum's name is Gillian and my dad's name is Douglas. So,
Oh, quirky.
yes.
And I liked your comment about the pace and peace, because that's what I need to do.
Yes, I think we possibly all do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gillian. These pictures are from Catherine P. I don't have last name, from Australia.
Very celebratory. I definitely can
Yes.
see that it's coming from place where spring is coming.
Exactly what she says in her email says, spring has sprung in Sydney, Australia. The Clivias is the name of the plant. I planted at Vizag are now in full bloom. Lots of beautiful lorikeets, I'm sorry, don't know the word, lorikeets this year. Lots of,
Birds, I think.
okay.
Probably. Yes.
Lots of cygnets have been born this year at my local parklands around Vizag, and I have been watching them grow up into swans, not quite black like their parents yet. Little blue, light devas radiating from the heart of Buddha. Many blessings of love and peace to all.
Thank you, Catherine. It's really amazing. Just see that prevailing orange color, which Tibetan says is special and related to healing and the etheric body. It's special. Bird's life. Speaking of peace, we noticed that, at least we in New York, what we're noticing is that birds and small animals are really becoming much less frightened of people. They're really coming very close. They nearing without fear, but more like joining in a way. And it seems like the vibration has changed. Our vibration is shifted, and our relation with the smaller kingdoms now is changing as well. Thank you.
Thank you. This one is from Margot Rush.
I don't think Margot is with us now.
And I have no message from her, no special message words. But the silence is here, and our garden is there as well.
Beautiful Canadian garden.
It's Georginas in bloom. I think those are.
And little cyclamens down there in the soil. Beautiful.
This one is from Urania.
I think Urania is in Venezuela. Place of eternal summer. Thank you, Rania. I know this one.
Yes.
This is a plant we planted for during the Vesak. It's English laurel, and when we planted it, it was in full bloom. And now it's preparing for winter, but it's an evergreen shrub, so it will stay with us with its green presence throughout the seasons.
It's growing strong. Just very strong, quiet presence in the garden.
And I have something to share on topic of peace. It was, I think many of us recently experienced increasing tension and increasing inflow of all sorts of events that require our attention, all sorts of news that's ask for our focused meditation. And I think many of us were experiencing that inattention rising inside, what Claire has been talking about at the beginning. And it's, I think it's our collective experience. And a few days ago, we were talking with Katya about that, about our own experience of that increased tension. And as it often happens, I just opened a book. It was Discipleship, Volume 2. And the paragraph that my eyes caught had these words. Most aspirants and disciples believe that they are bearing enough and are tired to the limit and are tried to the limit of their capacity. This is not the case. The deepest sources of strength in them have not yet been evoked, and the tension under which they should act and live from day to day is only as yet a feeble one. It is not all exacting. Ponder on this last phrase. This is on page 243, Dinah 2. And yesterday, we had a very strong or powerful meditation during the vigil that Uta led us. And an impression came that there will be more and more intensity coming our way. Us as individual disciples, us as groups, but also for us as humanity. And its intensity would call us to shift to the next level, to the next level of our capacity. So it's not about trying to navigate the intensity of events, choosing either that or that. It's about shifting in our own inner vibration, matching that increasing vibration. And that, I think, is related to the idea of peace. Because peace is a dynamic equilibrium. Peace, it's not about choosing between pairs of opposites. It's not even finding the middle ground between two pairs of opposites. But peace, it's a shift to the next level where the new equilibrium and therefore new peace is possible.
Yeah, simultaneous existence of differences without not conflicting, yeah, true, without having to choose between being, I would say, the level of being, from chaos to beauty and from cyclical into being. That wholenessness that is ever present and allows for change at any time. True, dynamic equilibrium. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Katya. So these ones are mine. Well, these pictures are of my little tree that is lost somewhere in this forest of sunflowers. As you see, it's planted in a big pot on my, well, a terrace. And what I think happened is that the birds, which I feed with the, grains and they actually deposited some of these grains into the pot, and I suppose it is the tree that actually asked for company. So you see, it's now growing in this among sunflowers. And if you look well, there is the tree as well there somewhere.
It got a really beautiful company.
Yes, yes. And I would like to read a poem by Rumi that speaks about a lot of things, but I'll let you hear it. It's called Grapes Ripen Smiling at One Another. The tart and hearty grapes, destined to ripen, will at last become one in heart by the breath of the masters of heart. They will grow steadily to grapehood, shedding duality and malice and strife, till in maturity they rend their skins and become the mellow wine of union.
This is really beautiful, Daniela. Thank you.
So these are from, excuse me.
These are, I believe, from the Heal Center in New Hampshire.
Yes, from that, yes.
And Tara.
Yes, thank you, Daniela and Claire, Alexander, Katya, and everyone on the call. And yes, this is the Hill Center in New Hampshire, USA. And in the very center here, you're seeing the evergreen among the rocks on the hillside. Tara got called away and asked me to speak on behalf of the Hill Center. And Tara actually is the one who planted that tree, and we blessed it. And it was very little when it was first planted, and it is an evergreen. And she asked me to share that we are all planted in the darkness as seeds in the darkness of matter. And we strive to the light. We grow to the light into our own garden of beauty, which becomes the global garden of beauty. And here at the Hill, in terms of peace, we define peace as living in right relationship with self, others, and all life. And we're quite certain that little evergreen, which is, if you could see the broader picture, it's among some giants of trees, and it will do quite well because it too is supported in right relationship with all life. Thank you.
It's an amazing corner of our beautiful planet over there in New Hampshire on the hill. Thank you for holding it.
Yeah, we visit through pictures in this moment, and for anyone along the way as our travels allow us once again, please know you are welcome at the Hill Center.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have, last but not least, a photo from Darcy Sessions.
That's my beautiful, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. That's Gayatri, and it's a pine. It's a tree of life. And it represents to me in this day a spirit of peace that was manifested first for us and given to us through the Christ in his own walk, and because of his walk, he was able to be given and called the Prince of Peace. And this beautiful essence of the spirit of peace is being called forth through humanity these last several weeks. It's very strong. Its presence is deep within the spirit of humanity. And we are told that essentially it is the establishing of right human relations and of synthetic rapport with its resultant cooperation of correct interplay between the three planetary centers and an illumined, loving understanding of the will of God as it affects humanity and works out in divine intent. This little tree represents for me in the evening time when we pause at the setting of the sun. And just as in the Himalayas, that great Prince of Peace, the Christ, raises up and honors the great raiment of the Mother of the world through the sounding daily of the Gayatri.
Thank you. Thank you, Darcy.
Thank
And
you.
where is this intention is anchored on the planet?
I have it anchored here in Washington, D.C., in the United States. So may it be spread abroad. in our hearts, in our groups, and throughout the world.
So deep.
Much
Looking
needed.
at,
Yes.
looking at your photograph, Darcy, I can almost smell the resin or the oils in that plant. It's so beautiful. But all the plants in their different contexts, you're reminded of how much gardens awaken in us in terms of our senses, you know, the fragrance and the touch and the listening, and full engagement is what they invite, isn't it?
Yes, it loves to be like my hand pets it like if you were petting one of the animal kingdoms. It likes to be the hand brought over, and it enjoys being petted, I guess is the best way to say it.
Thank you. So with this is our last photo. So I'll stop sharing and give back to you, Claire, the screen.
Maybe someone who is in our circle now would like to share anything on this, your sense and your knowledge, inner knowledge of what is peace for you, what is peace in its essence.
Also, maybe people who couldn't send the pictures of the plants but still would like to speak to them, please do so.
I would like to.
Maria Cristina would like to speak, please.
Oh, we just saw a wonderful flower on the screen.
Yes, I still miss some steps, but if you may recall, I planted a desert willow in the desert here this last spring, spring equinox, just as a counterpoint to the lush beautiful gardens. The desert willow planted here is doing well, but it's been a struggle. It was stripped by ants to where it only had 2 little tufts, and I was very concerned. It was also planted in remembrance of my Xochitl daughter. And now it's come back, and it's very full of green tufts again and flower. It's well, next time I will get a picture. But it was just a joy to see the growth in the midst of struggling with the environment. It's, I guess, kind of a feral environment here. It's planted a little bit in the desert itself, not in the backyard. And the desert is struggling. And plants and animals, but it is growing and it sheds wonderful fragrance when it flowers. And we're just getting into the growing season here because it's been incredibly warm. So the garden continues to grow. The garden is growing. The plants are growing. And as everyone spoke so beautifully, thank you. Hello, Claire, and everyone. And thank you.
I would like to.
Can
I would like to add something about peace.
So would I let
Josette, Maria Cristina is sharing now. If you could just wait a minute.
Sorry.
Because peace today for me in these worlds of daily life has become an acceptance of personal circumstances, a certain stillness and contentment with the personality, an acceptance even, and so freeing to come into labor with the plan, so to speak, into rhythm, in rhythm with the changing circumstances of life as we labor in service to the plan, to those the plan serves, and finally in service of those who serve the plan. So we still labor and we still work, and it's not, but it's an acceptance to me. The personal piece at any rate has become an acceptance of personal circumstances, even as we labor in the garden of the Lord, releasing us to do so. And then it becomes very joyful. So, thank you.
Thank you, Kina.
Thank you.
Josette?
Yes, thank you. Yes, at one first level, for me, the peace, the love is a cause of peace. When all people love, I think peace will be there on earth when love prevails. And at another level, more deep, the root of peace is in Shambhala, the center where the will of God is known. So for me, the root of peace is in the divine purpose, when we are in harmony with the law and order of the whole universe. And I would like to share too this day now, especially at the specific hour of the equinox, I had an experience of peace, and I could feel peace in the garden, in the nature, in the forest, all as if all nature was breathing peace. And I think it was linked with equilibrium. Okay, I cannot say more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josette. Indeed, it was an amazing energy at the exact time of the equinox. Such lightness and crispness. I see Karen, you have your hand raised. If you could please unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I've for a long time thought that peace is when we are in right relationship with all life, there will be peace on earth. But I really liked what somebody mentioned, synthetic rapport, and I think that's very interesting. And what you said, Alexander, about dynamic equilibrium and shifting to the next level, I think that's very thoughtful and something to ponder on. And I want to thank everybody for the beautiful pictures, music, poetry, and words. And today's my birthday, so I'm thinking of this as a gift that you've all given to me for my birthday, and I really appreciate it and have enjoyed it.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy
Thank
birthday,
you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I had the thought while you were speaking, while Alexander and Josette were speaking about equilibrium, how equilibrium how it has to do with balance, and how balance has to do with the ear, and how the ear has to do with listening and attunement. So if we've completed our sharing, I don't know if there's anybody else who would like to say anything, but maybe we can dedicate the next song to you for your birthday, Karen.
I see there is one more microphone unmuted and would be eager to hear what Martin has to share.
Yes, I'll be brief. I just wanted to comment on synchronicity. Just 2 days ago, I found a reference in esoteric astrology that, for me, linked Shambhala with all of the good work that each of us as individuals and each of the groups that is represented here are tied together and in living resonance. And that's a simple statement from DK, and it ties into this wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. I really am uplifted and inspired. But the word that is resonant is, in my quotation here from DK, is the word seed, but it's on a higher level in one respect. And it's these words talking about the energy of the will coming into living demonstration down the chain of being. And DK says, sustained effort is the seed of synthesis. And what registered with me was that each of the sustained efforts of us as individuals and of each of the groups that is in this network of the world servers network, those sustained efforts are seeds of synthesis, or what was referred to as creating a welcoming vibration here on Earth for the emanating impulse, for the initiating, from the initiating point at the center of the flower of life. Synthetic rapport between us in our sustained efforts with the originating impulse, which is synthesis itself. Synthesis is, we are operating in sustained effort to the best of our ability and creating a living, dynamic relationship between the center and the periphery. It's just, I can't put it into words, but I just want to thank everybody for what a wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
I saw for a second Sanjay's microphone was on. If you have anything to share, Sanjay.
Yes, namaste from India. And you see, I just joined very late, so please just give me some time to get assimilated here. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at this late hour. For you.
President mindset.
I think, Claire, we can now share that beautiful music
Dedicated
to
Karen.
Karen.
Here we go. Happy birthday and love to all. It's been very special. Okay, this is a 7-minute song, so we might fade it out about halfway through, I think, but long may its message linger.
Quietly, my love, let's kiss this earth we upon with our steps. The moon, she shines in the silence of your mind. Close your eyes. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. La luna. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. La luna. What is the sound of the song in your heart? Listen close. Dance wildly, my love. Let's throw our songs into the wind and let them echo, echo. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. La luna. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. La luna.
Daniela.
Praying. Yes. Praying by Mary Oliver. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention, then patch a few words together and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak.
Thank you, Daniela. I see Avon Madison has a hand raised. Alexander?
Yes, Aaron, you're unmuted, please.
Thank you. By what has just been spoken, I am called to share something that came from Patagonia and Chile, and I just need to go to how it was described. Yesterday on Peace Day, there was a planting of a sacred cannolo tree, and actually 1,000 of them have been planted, but this particular one's planted connected with Pathways to Peace, and I wanted to read you what is described about this tree. The sacred nature of the canelo tree has been closely linked to the magical symbolic meaning that it represents of the indigenous Mapuche people of Chile. It symbolizes the cosmic axis or axis mundi and the point of intersection of this with the horizontal plane of the earth, Mapu, and defines the center of the world. The roots go deep into the earth underneath where differences are shed, so that it is said that under the canolo tree, over all these centuries, only truth is spoken. In addition, its branches constitute a symbol of peace, leaving the trunk in 4 units in the shape of a cross, symbolizing the cosmic levels. Thank you.
What a gift. Thank you, Avon. It's what you've just shared goes very beautifully into the piece we're going to share next, which will be our meditation. Katja, did you want to say something before you do?
My meditation is the blessing of the water. Do we do it now?
Yes. Yeah. So before we go into meditation, I suggest we have our almost completely silent ceremony of blessing the water and blessing the water that we will share with our plants, with our gardens. So this is the time when we share. And if you don't have water with you, maybe you we can pause for a minute that you could fetch a glass of water, or we can visualize that glass of water. And as Evan just shared about that tree with the branches as a cross, it reminded me of cardinal cross that the sun entered today in a sign of Libra. And Libra is the lawgiver. It's the hub of the will that connects us with the spiritual principles and laws that the entire universe lives by. And it's our work to establish those principles and laws through our living and through holding the vision of the future, where the sacredness of our beautiful Mother Earth, of our beautiful garden planet, will be manifested. So let's link with, in our thoughts, in our group heart center. And we align with the heart center of the planet, the heart center of the beautiful garden planet, the hierarchy. And we align with the center of life, Shambhala. And through our alignments, we bring that life to humanity. Linking the great triangle of Shambhala hierarchy in humanity. And we see the great flow of life and love focusing in humanity. And we anchor part of this great inflow of life and love in the water in front of us.
We reconnect with the energies of light and love and will to good. With the group soul, soul of new group and humanity. And we see our garden and hear the words of the Master. Visualize to yourself a garden in disorder that you are restoring to order and beauty. Rearrange that garden and fill it with flowers, with song of birds, and with what you have visioned to yourself as the garden of your dreams. And we bring to our garden the seeds of all that was mentioned. Peace, silent will of love, acceptance, synthetic factors, dynamic equilibrium, right human relationships, the right proportion between the higher and the lower. In making them part of our garden. And we dedicate it and turn it into a shrine of consecration and connect it in our mind with the thought of service. And we see our garden sleeping in the darkness of the dawn. And in that darkness of the dawn, no real light, no sound or movement, and no life apparent. It remains just dreaming and careless. Enter your tower and climb to the summit, and then release the light which is in you. This will be to the garden of your soul what the sun is to the gardens of the world. Watch the rays of light pouring out over the garden, awakening it to color and beauty, arousing it to movement and life, and calling forth the song of birds and the hum of the bees, and evoking it to responsive loveliness. There Master may meet us when the clouds of glamour roll away. And with the energies of equinox, pouring through the great triangle of Shambhala, hierarchy and humanity, to the new group, we make for others a garden of our life upon the physical plane. And as a group, we invoke from the point of light within the mind of God, let love stream forth into the minds of men.
Amen.
Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the heart of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. And over to you, Claire.
Thank you, Katya. We'll close with a poem followed by a piece of music. This poem is by Judith Hill. It's titled Wage Peace. And it brings to mind the practice that Thich Nhat Hanh has introduced to communities around the world, the Tonglen practice, where we breathe in the world's impurities and we breathe out love. Wage peace with your breath. Breathe in famine and rubble. Breathe out whole buildings and flocks of red-winged blackbirds. Breathe in terrorists and breathe out sleeping children and freshly mown fields. Breathe in confusion and breathe out maple trees. Breathe in the fallen and breathe out lifelong friendships intact. Wage peace with your listening. Hearing sirens, pray loud. Remember your tools, flower seeds, clothespins, clean rivers. Make soup, play music, learn the word for thank you in 3 languages. Learn to knit and make a hat. Think of chaos as dancing raspberries. Imagine grief as the out-breath of beauty or the gesture of fish. Swim for the other side. Wage peace. Never has the world seemed so fresh and precious. Have a cup of tea and rejoice. Act as if armistice has already arrived. Don't wait another minute. And our final piece of music today is by Eric Whittaker and his virtual choir. It's titled Sing Gently. And for those of you who are not familiar with Eric Whittaker's work, he's a composer based in Los Angeles at this time, and he's done a lot of work with choirs online. So he will send his compositions, the scores, out to the different voices, to singers who want to participate in all parts of the world. And this particular song, Sing Gently, was mastered during lockdown. So singers from 129 countries, 17,572 of them came together to form a song. And the graphics are quite extraordinary. It's a prayer, really. So we share this with you and invite you to share it with others. And thank you for your presence and company this morning, this evening, this afternoon.